Hi, guys. Welcome back to Bubbly and Blazers. Today, we're going to be talking about friendships and friendships in adulthood. Yeah, let's get into that. Sometimes it can be hard to balance all of the things in our lives, relationships, work, trying to keep those plants alive, and trying to carve out time for friends can sometimes feel like a little bit of work. So, we kind of wanted to chit chat about that today.
Exactly. If this resonates with you and you're looking forward to our conversation, grab your bubbly and let's dive into it.
Yay.
I feel like friendships, they are absolutely, I think, crucial to
Hmm.
having a support system, to having cheerleaders to encourage you along the way, to have people to just like be able to bounce ideas off of and just do get into trouble with,
Too
get out of
true.
trouble with.
So
I feel
true.
like they're so key and everything. But I've definitely noticed over the last, no, I'd say like little while here, kind of reflecting on things, friendships evolving over time. I'm curious, Ainsley, have you noticed kind of any changes within your friend dynamics or friendships over the last little bit from like, say, like early 20s to mid 20s now?
Yeah. Yeah, let me start by saying I love female friendship.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely an interesting topic because I feel like any relationship out there, there's a lot of like media expectations, different things that you expect in your head, but of course, like everything in life, things shift. Um, so yeah, it's definitely something I've thought about a lot, transitioning from high school into adult life. Yeah, the concept of like, who are you taking with you? Who are you not? Like, are you sad about that? Are you okay with that? Um, definitely a tough concept, I would say, on my end of things.
Yeah, for
What
sure.
do you think?
No, I agree. And I think I'm really glad we're talking about this because I
Hmm.
think it's something that, as women, I feel like, and I'll generalize here, I feel like a lot of us are people pleasers and we're really, aware of our relationships with people. And sometimes we can be very black and white about things of, like, she's my best friend and like all these things. And then all of a sudden, maybe a dynamic shifts or something happens or life changes. And then we feel like instead of just realizing that friendship maybe has changed or evolved or is going through a blip, we kind of dramatically make a switch of, I guess we're not friends anymore. And it can feel really, it can go from feeling very social to very lonely very quickly, I
Mm.
feel like. So I really thought this was an important topic to discuss, especially because I feel like I've now gone through, I'd say like three major transitions in friends. And it was only recently I was talking to one of my close friends, Anya, about this and how, like some friends are there for a season and some are there for a lifetime. And you go through different seasons with certain friend groups. And I've certainly had that with different ones. And I think it's something that we don't talk about necessarily, especially in our early 20s and mid 20s. And if you don't, it can become very lonely and you can just feel like um, yeah, so I'm glad we're talking about this because I think it's important.
Yeah, I think that that is a huge thing that obviously I'm still coming to terms with. I feel like I'm on like the other end of the spectrum. Like I feel like I'll really try to like hang on to things.
Hmm.
And so that's like that whole seasonality thing has definitely become like a mental hurdle for me because it's like, um, yeah, I don't know, like you'll meet really great people at a certain point in your life, have a great time with them, and then
Hmm.
it's like you said, like a shift happens and maybe it's not like somebody you're calling with every day. And I tend to get very like bummed out by those situations, but it's also like we said in the opening, it's like it's impossible to have like a million friends and keep up with everybody and everything else in your life. It's like it's exhausting. Um so it's total like you said, it's a total fact of life, I think. But it's definitely something that I've like I really struggled with, and it causes me anxiety because I'm like, oh, I'm losing people in my life. But I will say something that I always try to think about,
Mhm.
that my aunt had told me years and years and years ago, that she was like, I didn't meet my best friends until I was like 40 and like had gone through my divorce.
Mm,
And I'm
mhm.
like, okay, I never thought of it like that. She's like, of
Yeah.
course I had friends, like, and had so much fun in my 20s and my 30s. And, at that point was raising kids and had like marriage friends. But she's like, sometimes there's like this pressure that it's like, oh my God, I need to have like my crew with me from like the time I'm like a fetus to
Born.
like
Yeah.
literally. Um, and she was like, no, I like randomly met like my best friends
Mhm.
like at work in my 40s, and she was like, we were just all going through the same thing, and we were just like soul twins. And
Yeah.
and yeah, and they were just like such a cute and lovely bunch of ladies. And so I think that is something to think about, is like, I mean, maybe you do have your same friends for your whole life, like so beautiful, so special.
Mhm. Mhm.
um but also maybe not. Like everybody's different. And so I don't know. I think it comes back to another conversation of like things are different for everybody else. And there's a
Yeah.
lot of like comparisons that happen that probably just breed anxiety at this point.
Absolutely. Like, thanks social media for that also. I
True.
feel like that's a really, yeah. Not to blame all our problems on social media,
But
but I
it
feel
is
like
it is the
friendship
antichrist,
guilt.
maybe.
Yeah, I feel like friendship guilt is huge on there because you see,
Yeah.
especially like right now, like, okay, we're getting into the holidays and all the, reels and TikToks are about like girls' nights and like
Yeah.
paint nights, wine nights, happy nights. Well, like, what if you just don't have that little core group right now? That's okay.
Yeah.
Or what if
Sad.
you're long distance besties right now? Maybe that looks different from you.
True.
And yeah, I feel like there is a lot of like anxiety around having to have the perfect group and everyone getting along and then also a lot of guilt when you're not connected with everyone in your circle. But
Yeah.
God, like how can you be?
Literally. Literally. I'm going
Yeah.
I'm going through this right now. Like it's like, and it's
Yeah.
such a like procrastination thing. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, there's so many people that at one point in my life I was so close with." And exactly that. It's like now we live like across the world from each other, but they still are like wonderful people and matter to me. And I'm like, "Oh my God, I need to reach out." And it's like I'm like going in a million different directions, and it's like I'm like, that's just one more thing on my list that I want to do. And it's, of course, I want to do it, but I'm like, I'm like feeling guilty because I'm not doing it. But I'm like, sometimes you don't have energy. I feel like that's something that like relationships really do require a lot of energy.
Mhm.
Like, I don't want to just like reach out to somebody and be like, hey, like, I want to have like a proper conversation, right? Like a check in. So,
Well, and I
you
think
know,
that, that brings a great point. Like, what does real effort look like in friendships? And
yeah.
I think again, I think some of my most core friend group, we've had these conversations, which I feel like also just adds like kind of takes away from the anxiety and guilt is to just be totally honest with each other to say like, "Hey, look, I value you so much as a friend. Like, here
Hmm.
are the things that I just like adore about you, but I'm going to be real honest here. Like, it's hard for me to keep up and like check in all this much. How about, like once a month we have a call or, like set the expectations. You can take some of that guilt away. But
Yeah.
also I think like we don't need to be so dramatic about it. Like
100%.
I think like when you're thinking of someone, a little voice note to just be like, "Hey, thought of you today. Hope things are going well. Like
Yeah.
have a
No,
great
it's
day."
so
Like
true.
I think that goes miles further than, just like waiting to have that like 3-hour FaceTime
Hmm.
debrief about the last like 6 months.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's like, yeah, I love that. I love that idea. Maybe I'll
Yeah,
do that tonight. I'll commit.
how do you find right now, like, you're balancing friendships with, working, going to
Hmm.
school, dating, like, everything else? Like, what does that look like for you right now?
Well, as some of my core friends would say, I have given up on the dating scene.
No.
It's tough. I feel
Yeah,
like I
fair.
really I'm going I'm pivoting right now, but it's because this is a quote
Okay.
of like they were like every time we're like talking about like who's seeing who and who's doing what,
Yeah, of
they're like, Ainsley,
course.
are you unhinged still? I'm like,
Mm,
nor I've given up.
yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Well,
so
Vogue has said it's uncool to have a boyfriend, so
and thank you for quoting that. And thank you for quoting that. And I would like to say I've never had a boyfriend, so you'll never catch me slipping. I'm super cool. I'm the coolest. What can I say? Um,
they
nah,
were
I'm
looking
I'm
to you
joking.
as their golden example for this article, I think.
And I did get a call for a photo shoot, and I just said, I'm really focused on my studies right now. I just can't make it to New York, but thank you so
Bubbly
much
and
for
Blazers
thinking
is
of me.
taking off. I need to focus on this.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Like I wish I could be there. I cannot. Anyway. So, but everything else is really busy in my life.
Mhm.
But I
Mhm.
feel like I will say like you said it's hard when you don't have like a really good core group. I have such an incredible group right now of actually like mostly girls from high school, which is crazy
Mm.
because um in my mind like there was like a little bit of like a growing apart for a
Yeah.
few years. I moved away for the first few years after grade 12, but then yeah, moved back. A bunch of people have been moving back, and we've gotten really close. And I think it's just like they're good people, and we just have a lot of the same values,
Mhm.
and we're just looking to have like you said, have looking to have a good time together.
Yeah.
So for me, like balancing that has been important because it's like those are my times that I look forward to in the week. Like it's like, okay, I've got like my things I need to do Monday to Thursday. I'm maybe working Friday, and then it's like, okay, Saturday's like an errand homework day, and then I'm like, Sunday, what are we doing? Let's go to the
Yeah.
pumpkin patch.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I
So
love
that's
that,
my
you
balance right
have
now.
that crew that you can call upon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good stuff right now. I love it. I love those guys.
Yeah. I feel like mine's similar. Like, I feel like I wouldn't say I've given up on dating because,
It's uncool, so why would you not give
yeah.
up?
I don't know. I'm such a hopeless romantic. Like,
I'm the
I'm
same.
just like, every time I leave the house, I'm like, today could be the
He's
day.
gonna be in
I'm
love with me.
walking the street, the leaves are falling. Some stranger taps me on the shoulder. Excuse me, ma'am, did you drop this by accident? And we lock eyes, fall in love.
And I'll say the same for myself. I've never
Okay.
given up. I've
Yeah.
just given
Yeah.
up on the apps and maybe
Yeah.
having a conversation with men. But I'm always open to people falling in love with my beauty at the sight of me in the street. So
Yes.
there you go.
I would agree with that. Okay, total segue. I have to share this funny story that I actually had with a guy on the weekend at a bar. So, met in the wild and
Halloween weekend.
yeah, first conversation. He's like, "Oh, like, what do you do for work?" And I was like, he's like, "Whoa, wait, wait, let me guess, let me guess." I was like, "Okay."
You're like, don't guess.
I
This
was like,
never is gonna go well.
"Yeah, thanks for including me in this conversation, but sure, keep talking. That's fine." Um, he goes, "I'll ask you three questions." It's like, "Okay." He's
Okay.
like, is it a desk job?" I was like, kind of, yeah, I guess." He's like, "Okay, okay.
Feel like hybrid.
Do you work from home?" Um, yeah, I guess, kind of. He's like, "Marketing. You're in marketing." I was like, "No, I'm not in marketing, but good try." I was like, "I'm in consulting." I was like, "How about you? What do you do for work?" "I'm in marketing." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Oh, all right.
Classic.
Well, first of all, you asked me two questions. And second of all,
Yeah.
I feel like you wanted to talk about your job in marketing.
So it gets better. So then he goes, "Okay, so outside of work, like what do you like to do?" He's like, "You look," and again, like doesn't give me a chance to speak.
This is
It's like,
frightening
"You
me.
look like someone who's like really active. I bet you play tennis. You play a lot of tennis, don't you?" And I was like, "No, I do not play tennis." And I was like, "How about you? Like, what do you do outside of work?" He's like, "I play tennis." I was like,
Stop. He really said like he's trying to manifest his dream woman, and his dream woman is himself.
Exactly." So I think all that to say, I think dating, we've lost the art of basic conversation.
It's true. And not to bring it back to social media, but
Yeah.
I blame social media. I blame those dang phones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
But this is
that's
why you need
evil.
your solid group of friends, your girlfriends. And, again, I think this is too where as you go through your 20s, you find that, there's people in your friend group that are getting into serious relationships. They're getting engaged, they're getting married, some are having kids, like, quite young. Then also you have the single girlies, and I think, that in itself plays a huge factor in a lot of friendships depending where people are at and depending where you're at. So I think, there's also that shift. It's not only like location of where you're living or what you're doing for work, but it's also your relationship status plays into some of these friendships too. And I noticed it myself, like I tend to hang out, I'd say, with more of my single friends because,
Yeah.
we want to go out on Fridays or Saturday nights. And then, maybe Sundays are for my friends in relationships.
Ugh.
But no, I feel very fortunate. I have a really good group of girlfriends, I'd say, in kind of that immediate circle, but then also the outer circle where I know, kind of the low maintenance friendships in the sense of like, you can let time pass by. And when you get
Mhm.
together, it's like nothing's changed. And it's not because you don't value each other, but it's because of understanding you're in different situations and life gets busy and knowing that you can still reach out to that person and connect with them, I think that's huge. And a sign also of people that I want to connect myself with too.
Too
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. No, I think it's good. And I think, maybe like a mini challenge, if you would, for people listening. And maybe you're thinking of that friend that you haven't reached out to in a long time, or you're feeling some of this friendship guilt that we're talking about. Let's put it out there that maybe, today you send a message to one friend just to say you're thinking of it. No agenda, no small talk, just to say, hey, thought of you today. Hope you're having a great day. And I bet that goes goes really far. And just a little habit to add into the week.
I love it. I accept the challenge. Amazing. So now we're going to transition to do our favorite little game, pop the bubbly or pour it out. So, how do you know when a friendship still fills your cup and when it doesn't? So, hold on, let me read the notes here. I'm a little confused.
That's okay. I think we're talking here about more like kind of when do you know, yeah, when to celebrate a friendship and when it's time to pour it out. So talking
I
kind of like
see.
in the general sense.
I see. I see. We're
Yeah.
saying, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Um, we're not popping, we're not pouring. We're talking about a pop the bubbly friendship. It's like
Mhm.
we're categorizing today.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, pop the bubbly friendship. People who celebrate you, hold you accountable, match your energy. Slay.
Absolutely. Would you add
Now,
anything else to that? What are your pop the bubbly friendships like?
yeah, similar values. I never really thought of that because it's not the case in my like immediate friend group right now, but you're so right with like the stages in life. That's
Mhm.
that's true. That's true, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, anything else you would add?
No, I think really just like the people that like add energy to your life and the
Mhm.
ones that like you see them in your calendar for like a
Yeah,
week ahead and you're like, "Oh my God, I can't
so
wait to
excited.
see this person." Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like those are like the exciting
Or
friendships.
like people you really feel like you can be yourself around. I like that. I
Totally.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Um, love, pop.
Okay, let's flip it now to the pour it out. What kind of would define your friendship of someone that, maybe kind of pour it out with? People that drain you, a relationship where it feels one-sided, you're always the one reaching out, you're the one asking all the
Mhm.
questions in the conversation, you're the one remembering birthdays, things like that. Or, sometimes a friendship, your morals don't align anymore, your goals don't align, things like that, which hopefully isn't the case, but this does happen. And I feel like in your 20s more so, you really see this shift as people go through life.
And it's tough. Like I've experienced situations like this and it broke my heart.
Yeah.
But exactly like you said, it was the right choice and people change and
Mhm.
um I
Have
think
you ever had
it's
to like seriously say to someone, like, I don't think we can be friends anymore, and like have almost like a friend breakup?
um
Or have they more like silently kind of exited?
Yeah, I would say the latter.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like similar. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that again, as you get older, you start to realize that again, maybe it doesn't have to be too dramatic in things.
Mhm.
Like I remember just like in elementary school, like people would always, like it was like, she's my best friend and like we can't be friends anymore. And like it would just
It's
get
like, "Whoa.
to a whole new level.
What are we doing here?"
And I feel like sometimes you bring that with you, like unknowingly in your early
Yeah.
20s at least, like feeling like, it has to be like,
Just
I
like a
have
lot
to
of reactivity.
Yeah,
It's like, "Ooh,
exactly.
let's just take
And
a
then you
deep
start to
breath."
realize, like, maybe I can just come to terms with that. Like, this isn't a close friend anymore, or this friend is great for these situations, but maybe not someone that I block off Friday nights with. Maybe instead it's a coffee once or twice a year.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, boundary queen.
I
Said, "I have time for you in my calendar twice a year."
mean, you don't
That's
have
all
to
you're
tell
getting.
them that,
No,
but
it's that's we're telling ourselves that.
I want to be clear. Some friendships that just happens. That's not a
Yeah.
negative, but some it's
I know, I'm like, this is kind of a tough topic because, like, I don't wanna feel like I'm calling anyone out, but
we'll see who our listeners are, the friends that reach out and are like,
we're like, "Hey, what the heck?" Like, "No, no, 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 I didn't mean you.
that was someone else. That was someone
Someone
else.
else. No, no." We're just, like, trying to have a meaningful conversation, but actually we're being evil. No, that's not our intention.
No, just like replay the clip where we talked about how valuable our
Yes.
friendships are and how much the people that we see and talk
True.
to mean to us.
Too true. That is
Yeah.
true. That's
Yeah.
the thumbnail. That's the clip we post on our social media. I love everybody. Everybody is my little sweetie.
Totally.
Oh
What
man, I
would you
love.
say for you, like, you said you have gone through some kind of transitions with
Mhm.
friends. Like what's something that's kind of helped make a friendship sustain for you?
Yeah. I don't want to say the same thing. I want to say something new and fresh, but um it really is like similar value. Like, and that doesn't even have to be like serious things. Like we've said a lot, like that group that I'm
Mhm,
like, yeah, we're going out and we're hitting the
mhm.
pumpkin patch. Like we've like had conversations to that point where it's like this probably works really well because we all want to do stuff and we want to do stuff with fun people and that's a generally a good vibe. So
Yeah.
let's keep these good vibes going. Um so I do think that's obviously important, being on the same page.
Mhm.
Yeah, that would be my answer. What would your answer be, Shayla?
I think adding to that, like it's so cheesy, but I think like in terms of any relationship, like whether it's like a friendship or a romantic relationship, when you know.
Mhm.
And when you click with someone, you don't necessarily have to have those big dramatic conversations either. So I think that's always a good sign of like who makes it easy to be a good friend to and who is easy as a friendship. Um and you know, I think going back to the importance of this and kind of the key here when I first moved to Vancouver, I was really worried about making friends because I
Yeah.
had such a core group of or like solid group in the Okanagan.
Mhm.
And I was really worried. I'd heard Vancouver was hard to meet people and people weren't very nice. And like, I was so concerned that I would just be at home on a rainy night and like just be so sad
Sad.
by myself.
Fair.
Which I actually do love time by myself now, but
Your
I,
mug of tea. Mm.
yeah.
It's raining
Now I
out.
feel like I crave those nights. I have to like schedule them in, like time by myself, which
Couch
is a good
rot
problem.
time.
But yeah, like I feel like so when I moved here, I really like focused on like, okay, like how do I make friends as an adult? Because that's like, maybe we should touch on that too quickly. In like,
That's a scary thought. I was
it's
scared for you when you
hard.
moved. I was like, ah, but
Yeah.
you've slayed it.
Yeah. I feel like my biggest advice is like, you have to make it a priority and you have to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And you can't expect it's like dating. Like you can't expect to stay at home and have a guy just knock on your door one day and be the love of your life and like have things work out. Like you
True.
have to put yourself in situations where you're going to meet someone
Mhm.
or, just get comfortable being uncomfortable because it is
Mhm.
uncomfortable to like put yourself out there. But I think what I've learned in all this too is that so many people are craving these connections
Truly.
and like you're not the only one out there looking for friends. I think, talking about these shifts, like we all go through them, but we don't talk
Mhm.
about it.
For sure.
And being in your mid to late 20s, like you are going to have periods where you maybe want to find some new friends and not because your friends are bad, but just because maybe you want someone to go hiking with, or you want someone who's going to want
Yeah.
to do pottery with you, or like those little things. And so I think what worked for me is, I picked activities that I like to do. So I like to be active.
And do you
Looked
like to play
for
tennis?
despite what you might think,
Um,
Ainsley,
and
I
did you meet
actually
anyone
don't play
playing
tennis.
tennis out on the courts? Just out of curiosity. People have been wondering.
Maybe this next summer I will take up tennis.
Pickleball. I tried it the other day. It was actually really fun.
Oh, yeah? Oh, it's so
It
fun.
was
But
great.
yeah, like find a hobby that you like, find a group that's doing it. For me, I figured the easiest one was running because run clubs are like all the rage.
Classic.
And so I found a local run club that was happening 3 blocks from my house. And I went, didn't know anyone. I just, made conversation with people. And then at the end of the run, they had like a little social after. And I forced myself to stick around, even though, again, like I didn't know anyone. I was going to this
Yeah.
bar all by myself. It was so uncomfortable. But I just, started a conversation with these girls, sat myself beside them. They were so friendly. Once I sat
Aw.
down, they were so friendly. And I started talking to this one girl. Her name's Anya. And I know she listens to the podcast regularly. So shout
Slay.
out Anya. And we just got to talking. And then from there, started talking about other things we did. Turns out she played soccer. I like
Aw.
soccer. She invited me to join her team that Sunday because they needed a spare. Fast forward almost like exactly a year later, like she's one of my absolute closest friends and, brought me into her little friend circle who now I have like such amazing girlfriends from that. And, without first putting myself out there to like open up to the possibility of meeting new people and then second just starting that conversation with her and having her continue that conversation, like things just clicked right away between us and it just felt easy and we just it was, yeah, it just kind of snowballed from there. So I think as you're navigating these transitions, like don't be afraid to make new friends also. You can always add to it. You never
I
know
love
who's
it.
gonna come into your life.
That's beautiful. It's a beautiful story. That's really cute. I'm proud of you for being brave.
Oh, thank you.
Amazing. Okay, so should we wrap this one up with a little bubbly breakdown?
Let's do it, let's do it.
Okay. Number one, friendships change. Growth doesn't mean goodbye, it just means you're evolving, and that's normal. And maybe you'll come back together, maybe you won't, but it's all okay. We just need to go with the flow.
Absolutely. Intentionality matters more than frequency. So 5-minute check-in beats 5 months of silence. Don't take it too seriously. When you're thinking of someone, send them a note to let them know you are.
Love. And know when to keep people who fill your cup around and to part those who are kind of draining the energy, draining the vibe.
Absolutely. And most important, I think, give grace to your friends and to yourself. Everyone's doing their best
Mm-hmm.
and life gets busy. It's beautiful. It can be messy. And I think being able to hold that space for your friends, but then also yourself to know that it's okay.
Too true. Love it. So whether you're nurturing your day one relationships or building new friendships, remember good friendships grow with you. So just keep loving life, keep loving the world.
Yes, and we'd love to hear from you. So head to our Instagram page or TikTok at Bubbly and Blazers. Tell us what you think of today's episode. Tell us one way maybe that you're showing up for the people this week in your life. And thanks for tuning in. Here's to friendships that evolve, empower, and always make room for growth.
Yay.
Cheers.
Cheers.